Alright, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to spawn actors at a random point along a radius in Unreal Engine 5. This is going to be really useful when you're making something like a vampire survival style game where enemies spawn all around the player. This video is going to be super quick, and we're also going to set this up using a macro library, so you can reuse this code in any blueprint you want later. So let's get started. So this code will work in any project, and right now I'm using Unreal 5.7 in the top-down template. For this example, I just duplicated the character blueprint and called it BP enemy and gave it a red material. Now first we're going to make a macro library. Right-click the content browser, go to blueprints, and find where it says blueprint macro library. From there, we're going to set its class to be an actor. Name it whatever you like. I'll call it my macro library. Open it up and you'll see a new macro is created for you. Rename it to get random lock along radius. Now you want to give it two inputs. One called radius, which is a float, and one called origin, which is a vector. You're only going to have one output. Name it location 2D, and make the variable type a vector 2D. Now get a random float in range node. Set its min to 0 and its max to 360. Then we're going to drag out and get a sine and cosine node. Make sure it's in degrees and not radians. Now multiply both the cosine and the sine values by the radius input we created. Now you want to drag out of the origin and break the vector. We'll use the multiply cosine and sine values to the x and y. Now just break the location 2D output and plug it in the values x and y. Also, if you'd like to change the color of the macro node itself, go to where it says instance color and change it to whatever you like. I'll make mine yellow. Now our macro is done. Let's test it by spawning some enemies. Go back to the content browser and make a new actor. Call it BP enemy spawner. Remember to drag it into the scene. Open it up and find the begin play node. Drag out and make a for loop and put in the value for the last index. I'll do 100 for 100 enemies. Drag a spawn actor from class node and split the transform. Get the macro we just created and split its location 2D output, as well as the spawn transform location. Drag in the x and y values together like so. You can leave the z value alone as long as the enemies spawn at the correct height. Set the radius value on our macro to whatever you like. I'll do 800. Next, get the player character and his actor location. This value is going to be our origin, so plug it into the macro. Now if we run our game, you can see that we have a circle of 100 enemies around our player. Let's add a bit more functionality to have them look at the origin. We'll just add this section of code that will take the spawn enemy reference, rotate it towards the player by finding its look at rotation, and apply it to the enemy's Z rotation value, while leaving its other rotation values the same. And there we go. Now they're all facing the player. Wow, kinda creepy. Anyway, that's the video. If this helped you out, feel free to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.